You know, we've got several pictures we're going to show. We've got an object, but I wanted to take a moment and ask you, just as a fellow human being, you've been given, and I can't think of any other way to put it, but you've been blatantly, potentially given an expiration date.
Absolutely.
We all have it, but very few of us know when it's going to happen. And you don't ultimately either, but you know that there is this dilemma, let's say. Let's just be frank, it is a dilemma.
I have no idea.
What does that do to your prism on life, your decisions, how you approach everything you do? Because I'm very curious as a fellow human that hasn't had to face that yet. And hopefully not.
For me, and that's one of my objects.
Well, we can hold it up now.
It's just this little thing that I carry around in my pocket, and it's got a hummingbird on the front, and on the back it says, "I am present."
Okay.
So the goal of my life, is to live as fully in every moment as I possibly can. Taking in the information that's coming at me at that moment and asking myself those questions: does that fit for me? Is that who I am? And strive for an inner peace that cannot be robbed by a cancer diagnosis or any other condition of life, because without this moment, I don't have anything. So I know there's a question coming up about 2 weeks and where would I go, you know, but for right now, for me, if I allow myself to start thinking about the future, even as far out as Tuesday and what that biopsy is going to tell me, I would be a mess today. I mean, the anxiety and the fear would just run rampant, and I wouldn't be able to be present to you.
Right.
You know, I would be thinking about what's going up there and going on in the future. So for me, it truly is a practice of every moment of paying attention to what am I thinking that might be creating these anxiety feelings, and change those thoughts so I change the way that I feel.
And that was probably the logic and rationale behind creating the blog that many people follow of your cancer journey. And I want to take a moment and have you explain your rationale for being that open about something so intimate.
For two reasons. I call that blog my personal private journal and the book that I never wrote. Everybody's always told me I should write a book.
Right.
I never wrote a book. So I am just putting out there, every time I have information or some kind of a spiritual message to share, I use Caring Bridge as my journal, to process it for me. But, and this is not going to sound very humble, but there's a lot of people out there that really are wanting to know how I am and how I am doing. So the blog gives me an opportunity to put it out there once, because the more that I talk about it, the more that it brings that energy of fear or anxiety to me. So if I am dealing with it honestly in the moment, then I only need to talk about it once, so that I don't have to keep repeating it, because I believe that the more that we repeat something, the more that we make it real.
Good point.
You know? So close friends and family, yes, I send out texts, I give updates and all that stuff. But for my general friends and public, the blog serves a wonderful purpose for that.
That's great. You hand me that object, I'll hold it up and you can explain it to the audience, and I've got a few more questions for you. Now, what's this?
Well, I found that at St. James Art Fair.
Really?
Yeah. It was they were a new vendor this year, and they're out of California. And those characters stand for inner peace. And so that's the theme of my practice, is inner peace, and my byline is enter peacefully into the wholeness of who you are. So, and that is what I strive to be every minute of every day. So I have that hanging in my office so that it reminds me of being peaceful. And when people walk into my office, that's the first thing they see. It's spotlit.
That's great.